The news flash from October. t.A.T.u at the Polish Viva Comet Awards. t.A.T.u at the Ukrainian Music Awards. The radio single You and I. t.A.T.u's album presentation in Moscow. And of course, the new Russian album Veselye Ulipki. At the beginning of October, t.A.T.u was singing White Robe, 2020 and All the Things She Said at the annual Polish Viva Comet Awards in Warsaw. After a fan meeting with their Polish fans, they gave a few interviews and celebrated Lena's 24th birthday. A week later, t.A.T.u took part in the ceremony of the Ukrainian Music Awards in Donetsk. Julia and Lena sang You and I and All the Things She Said. Both award show performances were reported to be worse than average appearances for the girls, who haven't been at any TV show for almost 2 years now. In September, the radio single You and I started to be aired on several Russian radio stations. You and I, the single that was warmly welcomed by so many fans and non-fans, the single that was able to connect the early t.A.T.u to the current, the single that people are able to relate to, has failed to be successful on the Russian radio air playlist. The song had almost zero promotion and can be listed now as third single that didn't make it to average playlist positions. The movie You and I, by the way, is to hit theaters in Russia next March. Veselye Ulipki, Happy Smiles was released in Moscow on October the 21st and is available on iTunes as well as at the official t.A.T.u shop. t.A.T.u had a 2-hour photo signing session at one of Moscow's Soyuz stores as their album presentation. Fans were photographed together with the girls who were wearing white shirts with nicks of their official forum members. There was a good atmosphere. The fans and girls sang along to the new tracks and signed posters that were handed to the fans. Instead of arranging a media gathering for journalists, t.A.T.u decided to welcome their fans foremost. That's why by now there is again only very little press, let alone any TV reaction after almost 2 weeks passing by after the album release in Russia. In contrast to the Ludi Invalidi album presentation, with media representatives and a gig which followed shortly after in 2005, t.A.T.u's current promotional work is as small as it could only possibly be. In 2 recent radio interviews, the girl stated that there is not a single public gig planned at the moment. They maybe will set up a show and plan a tour later, meaning next year. They prefer to play in stadiums. The new video, which is still kept a secret, needs some more scenes to be shot. They hope it will be released by the end of 2008. Fans suppose it to be Snega Party. The question when the international album was being released couldn't be answered. t.A.T.u indirectly stated that they didn't have a label yet. In the past, they didn't agree with Universal putting their nose into artistic decisions. t.A.T.u now are Yulia Volkova, Lena Katina and their manager Boris Ransky, who decides what songs to be put on the album and what songs to be chosen as singles. As further promotion, t.A.T.u might be guests at the MTV Russian Music Awards. We will keep you updated, of course, with our newsletter. Subscribe at tattooism.com/newsletter.php, and now to your fan reviews and Sergio Galayan's interview bits.
After many postponements, delaying, complaining from the fans and 3 singles, the third t.A.T.u studio album was finally released in Moscow on October 21, 2008, exactly after 3 years from their second album, Ludi Invalidi. This time t.A.T.u are working without any label, only through their own company, T.A.T.u Music. Personally, I was so happy to hear this so-awaited album. I knew that sooner or later they would have released it. Many fans had lost their hopes, but I was always optimistic about it, because he always thought t.A.T.u would never disappoint me. And for the first time they didn't. Veselye Ulipki was also released on iTunes, the first time for a Russian t.A.T.u album, and it's going pretty well in the charts, considering that the songs are almost all in Russian language. This album contains 12 songs. At the first listening I was surprised from one thing in particular, the variety, because it contains many different kinds of tracks.
Hi, this is Yo speaking. I will give you my review of the new Russian t.A.T.u album. Belly Plastic is a great song. The lyrics and the video have a great deeper meaning. You and I is a bit boring after a while. The Western Dwatsat has a groovy electronic vibe. Fly on the Wall seems to feature the legendary Miss Britney Spears. All the songs on the album have a good beginning, but get boring or bad. This album doesn't have the quality of the band t.A.T.u, who we got to know at the beginning of this century.
I don't think I hate the song. I will just say that the introduction is a bit useless because it's just an instrumental. You know, I would prefer to have the Veselier Olipki at the beginning, like they do in the show with the t.A.T.u, the musicians.
The intro is beautiful, even if it is the instrumental version of the track 12, Niezalei. Maybe a bit too long for an intro, but the melody is amazing. It helps to draw slowly into the album atmosphere. It's time to go into the electronical part of the album. Snegopadi, Vestivvatsat and Chelovechki.
I like very much to listen to Chelovechki. I love it really. Yeah. The beat, the tunes and the high parts of Lena's voice.
These three songs are more electronical than the usual duo songs, something new and experimental. Personally, I don't like too much the electronic music, but t.A.T.u managed to give to these songs their style, their personal touch I like so much. So in my opinion the experiment went well. Snegopadi isn't an happy song, as well as Vestivvatsat for the lyrics, even if the melody is powerful. I liked that strong contrast, and I think the girls worked pretty well at vocals. In between Vestivvatsat and Chelovechki, there is a ballad, Martianskie Glaza, written by Sergei Galoyan.
I heard the track, it was on the radio today in Moscow, and I love it. I'm satisfied with the mixing, and so went out really good. I didn't know the lyrics, but it was quite political to not be involved in all this, choosing the lyrics and because I don't want to tell bad things about the girls because I really much love them and Boris is a really nice guy, but I really really don't care about these lyrics. And they're good lyrics, but they couldn't came up with anything better, and I'm glad that this is not the worst lyrics on the album.
Well, the lyrics are a little bit abstract.
Yeah, maybe it's good. If lyrics is abstract, people can listen for the music.
I really like Fly on the Wall.
Fly on the Wall. The song is an R&B style, something really new and fresh from t.A.T.u. In my opinion, this track is one of the best after Running Blind, even if it is a bit in American style. Something really unusual for the duo, but a good choice, because it could appeal the Western musical market, and at the same time it doesn't contain stupid lyrics that people could imagine from this kind of song. The only thing I would have personally avoided are the backing vocals. For me, they are totally unnecessary.
Fly on the Wall, the one I was listening on the radio, and I quite like it, but I still think that I do better sounds for these girls than other writers. I don't know if you heard Valeria's album. I think in this direction needs to go t.A.T.u, but they was acting kind of naughty, not taking my songs. I actually showed them like this time maybe 10 or 11 songs, and then they chosen 4. And then they just took one. I don't know why. I'm happy for girls that they releasing albums. I've heard that album is like number 18 on iTunes at the moment.
The top albums, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. I'm happy to be a little but still part of this. They took the multi-track and they did the whole thing themselves. So I actually was not on the studio this time. They just took the parts and recorded vocals and mixed it in London and somewhere. So I was not seeing the girls on the studio, which is sad. One day almost 2 years ago, Boris called me and told, Sergio, we are preparing a new album. Can you show us some songs? I said, yes, of course. And I brought like the whole CD of a bunch of the tracks and ideas and stuff, and he took just one.
I have a feeling of this album is not finished. They had to sell the album, so they sold it.